Next, let's take a quick look at the distance formula. The distance formula tells us the distance between 2 points. So here I have a point, -2, 4, -1, -7. Whenever I have 2 points, I'm going to label one of them x1, y1. I'll label the other one x2, y2. I really recommend doing this. If you don't, I see students getting them confused all the time. You know, it's not that hard just to label them right in front so you can see them visually, because people get the y's confused or the x's confused. Sometimes they mix them up here. So it's just best to label them, and then you're straight. So the distance formula just tells you this: x2 minus x1, take that square, plus y2 minus y1, take that whole thing square, and take the square root of that. So all I'm going to do is substitute in, well, x2 here, that's -1, so I put a -1, minus x1 is a -2. I need to make sure I keep this negative that's there, and then the x1 also has a negative, so I keep that. That whole thing's going to get squared, plus y2 is a -7, minus y1 is 4. I'll go ahead and subtract those. When I subtract them, I get 1. When I subtract these, I get -11. When I take 1 and I square it, I get 1. When I take -11 and square it, I get 121. Add those together, and I get the square root of 122. I'm going to leave it as the square root of 122. Now, I probably will not ask you to memorize the distance formula on the exam, but I would ask you to memorize Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is very famous, by the way. It's in The Wizard of Oz if you've ever seen it. It's when the Tin Man gets his brain and he recites the Pythagorean theorem. And what the Pythagorean theorem says that if I have a right triangle, that one leg or side squared plus the other side or leg squared equals the hypotenuse squared. And the hypotenuse is always the longest side, and it is the side that is across from the right angle. So that side that's the longest always has to be over here by itself. And you just add the other two sides after they're squared. So how could I use this? An example would be this. I have a triangle that has 3 for one side, 4 for the other side. Can you find the hypotenuse length for me? So all I'm going to do is plug these into our formula. So I have 3 squared plus 4 squared equals x squared. So 3 squared is 9, 4 squared is 16, 9 plus 16 gives me 25. Well, 25 equals x squared, not x. So I need to find out what x is. Well, the square root of 25 is 5. So if I went 5 times 5, that would give me 25. So 5 is my answer.